Yes. Welcome, everybody, to this Pragmatic Extravaganza.
which is going to be a pragmatic explanation.
You're here live with Susanna Mittermaier and Mr. Amazing Graeme Crosskill.
Hello, hello.
We both love being pragmatic and we love choosing what works. And we are so happy to invite the world to choosing and finding out what truly works for you. We all live in a world where it's normal to be dramatic, where we look at what's wrong. We have learned that it's valuable to look at what's wrong and to live in the past rather than creating our future. So what we're inviting you to is something that is different. It's called being pragmatic and choosing what works and being willing to also let go of your past to truly create the future that works for you.
Lovely. And we talk about this a lot, but it's for the new people out there who's never done a class before or never explored anything of this topic. You're not alone. You're not the only person that's never had to look at what's pragmatic and what's your future, and that you actually have a choice to create it rather than be victimized by it. So, Susanna, I think since the class is starting on the 5th of April, which is Pragmatic Psychology. I see you smiling there because you and me are both the same with dates and times. Apparently, times are quite interesting. So we've got it. We've got you. What's really this?
But we make it work every time. We are pragmatic with that anyway.
We do. So there's two things that's going on here. One, we're having like 4.5 days of class, right? What that means, it's a seminar, it's a conference, it's a course, it's a class, whatever you want to call it, of where you get to come and explore a different possibility in the way of being you in the world. And we start that with an evening class for Pragmatic Psychology, which is what you've created because you are a psychologist, which is amazing. So can you tell us just a little bit about what they will get and what your kind of target is with Pragmatic Psychology?
Absolutely. Pragmatic Psychology was founded many, many years ago, and I'm not going to tell you the story now, but what got created from that is not only a book that's now a bestseller.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant book.
That's translated in many languages. It's called Pragmatic Psychology, Practical Tools for Being Crazy Happy. And it started with me being in psychiatry and mental health as a psychologist. And I was working with patients of many, many, many different diagnoses. And I was asking what else is possible to empower people to know that they know and to find out what else they are beyond diagnosis, beyond the mental illness that they have been diagnosed with. And with those questions, a whole new paradigm of psychology got started, which is now called Pragmatic Psychology. And pragmatic means do what works. Do not live in the past. Let go of what doesn't work for you and create your future. And create a future that works for you. Most people live somebody else's life. They live the life of somebody else who has a point of view of what's right and wrong and what a good life is and what a successful life is. And usually most people have not started to ask the question, hey, what works for me? If I truly would choose for me, what would I start with? What would I go for? What's fun for me? And so living in the world of wrongness, finding out one's strongness and one's capacities is an amazing, adventurous journey. And this is what Pragmatic Psychology offers you. Those classes do not have any prereqs. They invite you, whether you have always thought you're wrong, whether you have a mental diagnosis, or whether you know somebody in your family who has that and you want to know how to facilitate them, how to be with them, what invitation you can be to something different. this class is for anybody. And it's also for people who work as coaches, as therapists, as doctors, anybody who works with people who would like to find out a different way of facilitating change in a way that works for you as a professional. Also, which creates change in a way that I have not seen any other modality create. And, there's a level of ease and space possible for all of us when we go beyond problems that is incredible. We all live in a world where problems are normal, where dramatics are normal, and living a life where problems are not the most valuable thing, but creating your life, using your capacities to create your future, that is what we're inviting you to.
Wow. Can I come? That sounds amazing. Yeah, it is. It's, I have attended your classes, and they are really different. And again, I would like, for me, who I would say is someone that could show up for pragmatic psychology is just anyone who's really looking for something different. It doesn't, you can come from all walks of life, but if you have that little itch in your world going, there's got to be a better reality available, there's got to be something more, this is the start to finding out what that is. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it's amazing what's changeable. I just had a pragmatic psychology class in Germany this past weekend, and people, like, every class is different. Every class has their own little topic depending on the people who come. So this time there were a lot of people who had some kind of abuse or trauma in their past, and where they were stuck. They were stuck in that time when that drama, that abuse occurred. And we like talking about this and using the tools that we use in these classes and facilitating these people beyond the abuse and beyond the trauma was just incredible to see what changes are available in a short time. Like, I talked with another person today, and he said, oh my God, like, abuse and trauma are those things that should determine your future. It should mean that you have no future. And what people find out in these classes, that they are no longer victims. They get to access their potency. They get to access the luxury they have, which is called choice, to go beyond their past, to truly create their lives that they always desired. And it's incredible what changes I saw in the people who were so without hope that this would ever be any different. And they were all stunned and surprised that there is truly a different possibility. And it's not about being perfect. It's not about being, oh my God, now everything is happy and everything is wonderful. That's not what this is about. It's about where even the not wonderful things can have an ease in your world beyond the need of perfection.
Yeah, sure. That's pretty cool. And it's like you say, it's interesting how quick the change is starting to show up for people that that we're working with and stuff like that. And it's becoming more and more available for more and more people, which is hugely inviting and hugely exciting. So I'm pretty excited about the future.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, the one thing about it is, like, when you can get out of that wrongness that we've been taught to live from, then you can start to actually perceive that every choice that you have is the invitation and the gift to the future that you would like to have. It might not necessarily show up the way you would like it to. It never really does. But that doesn't mean that you don't have an effect, you don't have a choice on what your future is and what's possible for you. And I think this is obviously where, one of the cool things, where the transition of what pragmatic psychology leads into is the pragmatic futurist. Because imagine being without a story. Imagine being without a past. And you have this clean slate and you go, okay, what would I like to create my future as? And what I've noticed about pragmatic futurist and being a pragmatic futurist is that it's like you choose from a space of presence instead of reaction. and you really get to be very clear, especially when the drama and the trauma is around, and the tornado is busy spinning, and you're going, what's going on? That for me is kind of like Pragmatic Futurist. You kind of like, you're in the eye of the tornado, and you get to look at everything so clearly and just pick what you want. Go doop, doop, doop. And that for me gives me the sense of the capacities, or one of the capacities of Pragmatic Futurist. So what is Pragmatic Futurist all about, and what can we invite people to for that?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
So this is something that evolved with the Pragmatic Psychology class, where every class I facilitated at the end, so these are 2.5-day classes, and at the end, there was always a conversation about the future emerging and of itself. And it's like, so Graeme and I started asking, so what is that? What's the thing about the future? And what we realized is the moment when you go out of wrongness, but a moment when you stop judging you have the capacity to create your future like you cannot even imagine. Like even the judgments you just had a couple of seconds ago. Let's say somebody judged you for something and said, oh, why did you do this? And you try to make it real and true in your world. Just that moment, when you make those judgments real, you stick yourself in the past rather than going forward and creating your future. So it's really becoming for you in your daily life more and more aware of the moments where you stay in the past. Like so many times we think in our head, I just got my nails done, by the way. Oh, I just thought of myself. So this is how my brain works, very ADHD. So the moments when you think about, oh, should I have said that, like about my nails? Should I have done this? Should I have, was this the appropriate and right thing to do? You go into the past just for those moments, and probably many, many times it's for minutes and hours, and you miss so many possibilities that are being presented for you in that very moment that can totally change the direction of your future. So like this presence that people talk about in our world is actually available. It's the presence where you ask for possibilities. Let's say you ask for more money, you ask for more sex, you ask for greater possibilities with your partner, your business, whatever. And we ask for things. Like we all have learned this tool of you ask and you shall receive. Well, yeah, we ask, but then we don't receive. And you don't receive because you are in the past. You still think, like, oh, maybe I should have done this. Oh, was this really a good decision? Was that a good choice? Did I do something wrong here? In that moment, you do not receive the possibilities that you were just asking for a moment before. So this is what Pragmatic Futurist is for me, the constant moving forward. And the constant asking and the receiving. And receiving is something we all have to practice more and more and more and more. And also the judgment about, if I, like, the things you ask for your future, let's say money, relationship, business, whatever you're asking for, those future possibilities that you ask for, like there's always this thing in the back of our heads of, oh, maybe it doesn't show up, or maybe I fail, or maybe it doesn't, it doesn't show up the way I would like it to. There's always this judgment, where you already project into your future that you might not do it right, that you might fail. And so what I found out for me, and what Pragmatic Futurist is for me about that, is you cannot fail as long as you have a willingness to change. So the willingness to change and the willingness to change direction every moment is where we are creating the future.
Yeah, brilliant. So how do people connect with us? What they can find out more about these classes, how to join. Firstly, we should maybe tell them where the class is. It is in Vienna, Austria. That's a good start. And so we're going to be there live. And it starts the 5th
in the evening It starts on the 5th in the evening, and then 6 and 7. So 5th in the evening, 6 and 7 is the Pragmatic Psychology class, which does not have any prereqs. You can join us in lovely Vienna, Austria, a very elegant city.
It'll be the first time I'm there. I'm very excited.
It is just stunning. It's the city I grew up with and in. And then I moved to Sweden, and then when I moved back, just not so long ago, I realized where I actually grew up. I realized how amazingly pretty it is, and I started to receive the elegance of this city. And elegance and aesthetics are a big part of creating your future, but more about this at the class. And then you can join us in Vienna, Austria, but you can also join us online. So online means you get a link and you join us from the comfort of your home. Yeah. And then 2 days, two days after this class, the 8th and the 9th of April, Graeme and I are going to facilitate a class together, and it's Pragmatic Futurist. And this class has a prereq, which is either the Access Consciousness Foundation class or the Pragmatic Psychology class. And why? Not because we want to be mean, but we want to have people who really desire to create the future. And we already had people who said, can I join without having the prereqs? And it's a no, because we would like you to get out of this class as much as possible, and for us to go as deep and as wide and as far as we possibly can to create and create and create beyond our wildest dreams and imaginations. And this class is also in Vienna and also live streamed.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, for everyone that's going to be joining us in Vienna for both classes, it will be translated. So it'll be English, Italian, German, and possibly French. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So online will be English only. So if you would like to have that translated into your language, then you can join us live. We would love to have you live.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love you live.
Yeah.
And we love you online as well. And you will be able to ask your questions in class, and you will also be able to ask your questions online as well.
Yeah, which is cool. So the link should be with this Hangout on the YouTube page. If you can't find them there, you're more than welcome to find us online on Facebook, Susanna Mittermaier or Graeme Crosskill, connect with us. Or you can go to accessconsciousness.com and find a facilitator, and again find myself or Susanna, and you will find the class.
We're really looking forward to you.
Yeah, there is no excuse to not finding us.
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers. Thank you. Have a great evening.